Hello, all you wonderful, fabulous females out there. This is Louise Fennell coming to you from mmtv. And today I'll be talking to Bernie Wilkinson, who is a fascinating woman that I met just recently and had a real interesting talk. And as a result of that, I've asked her to come in and share some of her knowledge with you. So I'm going to have Bernie introduce herself to you and tell you a little bit about what she does. And then we'll get a little more heavily into it. Bernie?
Thanks, Louise. My name is Bernie, Bernadette, actually, named for my dad, Bernard. The family was expecting a boy, and I came out as a girl. So I was supposed to carry the name of Bernard J. Golden into the next generation, and so I am Bernadette Marie. Louise and I met, we had a lovely lunch, and we actually viewed a wonderful live performance done by a group. And the title was called Love Letters. And so Louise and I had an opportunity to talk at the Saugus Senior Center. And I am on the board of directors for the Saugus Senior Center. And this is my second year. And I will be on for 2 more years. And I was asked to join the senior center because I'm in and out all the time. And I have an interest in helping and volunteering my time. I was a former educator for 32 years. And now I am volunteering and just enjoying life. I'm working at the Winchester Hospital as a volunteer, senior center as a volunteer. I also do a little bit of tutoring, and generally one of my passions is reading. And so I run a book club at the Saugus Senior Center, and this is our first year that we've had it going. And I have a wonderful group of seniors, beginning with a group in their 80s, and these ladies have never finished a book. They've been very busy living their lives and having their families, and they're learning to love reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my passion, and I'm very happy to be part of that. So, but one of the things that I'm really interested in is accessibility. Mm-hmm. I have a member of the book club who is disabled. 19 years ago, she fell off of her porch, and she broke her neck.
Wow.
She's a member of my book club.
And she gets there.
When she gets there. Mm-hmm. And it's been very difficult for her. She has had COVID. She's had pneumonia. Oh. And I have actually gone to visit her, bring her books. Unfortunately, right now, she cannot sit up to read. So the big question is, how do we keep her involved with our group?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I went to different libraries and learned about accessibility for all different kinds of disabilities. Uh-huh. And I'm happy to say that we have got a mobile library service, which, depending on what community you're in, I'm in the Saugus community, but also the Melrose community, and you can find some kind of help with mobile library services. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. What, for instance, can you do?
Well, they can actually come to your home and deliver books. And pick up books. I think that's a great idea.
That's wonderful. Really, yes.
The other thing I found out is because we are part of the Nobel Library community, we have access to something called Libby.
Right.
And so what is Libby? Well, Libby is they work with public libraries, and all you need to be accessible to this is to have a library card. Mm-hmm. So I would check your local library. For example, I know that Saugus is part of the Libby. I know that Melrose is part of the Libby.
Yes.
Because we're all part of the Noble.
Right.
So anyway, I think that's a great service. We also
Certainly is.
have audiobooks. We have ebooks. We have something called a play book, which I understand the Wakefield Library has, this Play Pal book.
Oh, tell me about that. How does that
I
work?
don't really know all that much about it. I know that it's a component that you can pick up at the library. You can plug it into your computer.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
And we also, just to let you know about the Libby service, they work with public libraries who use something called Overdrive. So that's something to check into.
Right, sure.
So my goal is to get this lady connected with Libby.
Right.
Because if she can't come to us, we can come to her.
Sure.
I mean, there isn't any reason why anybody who's at home cannot access things in this community.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the 21st century.
Right.
So, I think if you're able to get some time to do some research, make some calls, talk to people, you can have access. Because after all, we have the American Disabilities Act. And of course, what is that? Well, basically, it's an ability to access or benefit from any product, device, service, or environment. Okay? And so it prohibits discrimination from any accommodations, from any commercial facilities, transportation, which is very important.
I'm having problems with transportation myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now that the MBTA does have a customer support service,
Yeah.
and they do have a mobility center, and you can contact them and speak to them about your concerns about getting access to your transportation. Now, in Melrose, we have a wonderful MBTA service.
Right.
But if you cannot get on that train,
Exactly.
then you're going to be unable to get into Boston or wherever it is that you want to go to. So my recommendation is that people contact the MBTA customer service and see what you can do about getting somebody to help you. Because after all, we pay for these services. And we should be able to access them.
Sure. Now, how do you go about that?
Well, I have a telephone number.
Okay. Could you give it?
I can give you one. It's called Exploring Accessibility Transit Options, and the phone number is 617-337-2727.
Okay. Could you repeat it?
Sure. 617-337-2727.
Okay, great. And if you forget, you can always listen to the podcast, then you'll hear it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, my family has always been active in the community. My dad was a ward alderman. My great uncle was a mayor. So I grew up in a community, Woburn. It's actually where I'm originally from. Where we were encouraged as kids to really be involved in the political activities of our community.
Oh, that's great.
So, for example, as a young person, I would be standing at the polls, holding my signs for political candidates, one being my dad, and, being active, talking to people, and being willing to volunteer.
Great.
People always came to our home, speaking to my dad about things that they were concerned about. So I'm always been exposing myself to these folks.
Great.
And I think it's very important.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you have some suggestions that you could give to older people, say, over 70 or so, for getting around and finding out who to call to find out how to get involved in things? Like I have actually ended up sitting on the step of the train at one point when I was trying to get on a train, and the step was too high. And when I asked the conductor what to do, and he said, you can go to Oak Grove and get on, and get the subway there. That doesn't really help me a whole lot. If I could just go down to the train station and get on the train, that would make so much of a difference.
Well, one of the things that we have in this community is we have a senior center.
Mm-hmm.
And we have folks at the senior center who have a lot of contacts.
Aha.
So that would be, for example, when I turned 65,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get an MBTA reduced pass.
Right.
So I went to the senior center in Melrose.
Mm-hmm.
I met with Erica,
Mm-hmm.
who, by the way, is the director of the Melrose Senior Center. Fabulous girl.
Yes.
And she actually plugged me in so that I could get my pass. And within 2 weeks, I had my MBTA pass.
Ah, that's great.
And then if I want to load more money onto my pass,
Yeah.
I can go to Shaw's.
Shaw's.
Yeah,
That I didn't know.
there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wonderful.
Ah.
They really are wonderful.
Yeah. Now, did they charge for that?
Nope.
No. Oh. Wow. That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For those people who are in their 70s, this is my feeling. We pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that we vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And my feeling is access those people.
Aha.
I've worked on political campaigns for Elizabeth Warren, for Catherine Clark, for Markey. In the days long ago, I remember Mr. Bellotti coming to our home. I remember several politicians coming to our home.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm working for you, you're going to work for me.
Ah.
And that is my belief.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time that we take care of our local people.
I agree.
Now, in Melrose, you have a new mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met her yet. I know
She's
Louise,
wonderful.
You've interviewed her.
Yes.
She seems very proactive.
She is. In fact, I mentioned the potholes to her. I live in the Cochrane Center, and when you cross on the crosswalk behind the bank, there are potholes all over the place. And I mentioned it to her, and within a couple of weeks, those potholes had been fixed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she really listened when I went to a talk that she was having for people in the community. And she really listens to everybody. She's wonderful. So contact her.
I think definitely contacting the mayor's office would definitely be one of the things. Now, the other thing that Melrose has is you have a service which is located right close to Shaw's. Home Instead.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's another resource that you could go to.
Oh, even if you're not looking for help. Well, I guess someone said you're trying to stay in your home.
You're trying to stay in your home, and that's an important thing because I don't think people really want to leave their home unless they absolutely have to.
I agree.
Okay? But you have companion services
Mm-hmm.
that you can access. You have your Mystic Valley Elder Services,
They're great.
which is another access.
Yeah.
You have your you have your elder services in town.
Uh-huh.
okay? And I think that's one, direction that you can go in, is to access what you have in your community and talk to people, communicate, take a walk down and have a coffee if you can down at Nero.
That's a great place to sit around.
It's a fabulous place.
Yeah.
But I'm one for reaching out and kind of saying, "Hey, neighbor, what about this or what about that?" I think, the pandemic really kept us away from each other. And
Right.
I think it's time that we open up and say, let's help each other out. Just like when I was a kid, we knew our neighbors.
Yes, true.
And, I live in a condo. And I know my neighbors because I actually go and speak to them.
Okay.
And they know that they can come to me. So we have a pretty good open relationship.
Yeah, that's
And we
great.
help each other out. If somebody needs some sugar or you need whatever, just go to each other and ask, hey,
Great.
So I don't want to see people isolating themselves. That doesn't work.
Right.
It really doesn't work.
Yes.
There's no reason why you have to be isolated at this point.
Yeah.
But it means reaching out. But it means the community needs to reach out too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I see we need to start wrapping up. The time went so fast, but
It was great.
Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Sure.
But would you like to take a minute or so and just give some final gem of information? Or am I putting too much pressure on?
Well, I think the whole idea is we have so many opportunities to help each other. We have services. We have people that we can speak to, and we need to speak to them. We have neighbors. We have friends. We need to work together. This community needs to work together, and they are working together. But we need to do a better job for our elder population.
Right. Yeah.
We need to honor the fact that they've given a lot to this community, and now it's time for the community to give something back to them.
Great. Oh, thank you so much.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. And for all of you out there, I hope you have learned a lot tonight. And remember that there are always resources for you, and you can easily get in touch. If you're not sure how, call the senior center or city hall or someplace where they're dedicated to helping you. And I've learned a lot tonight, and I'm grateful for all of it. And for all of you out there, I hope you have a wonderful evening. This is Louise Fennell saying goodbye to you from mmtv.